Hey everybody, it's Wayne coming at you with an option premium update. Just a few hours ago ended the final trading day of 2023, so I wanted to give you an update on all of the option premium that I earned for the entirety of 2023. Let's go ahead and take a look here at this spreadsheet. I think the last video I put out was just over a month ago, and year-to-date premium for 2023, you can see here in the lower right-hand corner, $36,897. Now, it became pretty apparent to me a few months prior that I wouldn't be able to beat or surpass the number that I earned in 2022, which, considering that was the first year I ever began selling options, was not too bad of a year in which I earned $47,692. Before we get into the updated number, because in today's video I'm going to let you know how much that number has gone up from $36,897, I want to kind of go back to a dilemma that I continue to face when it comes to selling cash secured puts. Go ahead and take a look here at my Robinhood brokerage, and you'll see brokerage cash, I'm just under $60,000 to be exact, $58,951. Now this dollar amount has to remain on the sidelines because when you sell a cash secured put, you need, in fact, cash to secure that contract. And so I guess the dilemma that I've had for, I'd say, the better part of 2023 comes down to the question, am I making a mistake by not just taking this $58,000 plus and investing it into quality stocks that I already own in my portfolio that I want to build up to be even bigger positions? And so it's an interesting dilemma because let's go ahead and take a look at some of the best performing stocks in my portfolio, at least on the Robinhood side. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick rundown of my Microsoft position, my Apple position, my Celsius position, and my Costco position. Let's go ahead and start off with Microsoft. And I think I'm in a pretty good boat here. For the 200 shares that I own, my cost basis is about $247. And you guys can see I am up 52%. If we go over to Apple, for the 200 shares that I own, my cost basis is just under $136, which means I am up 41%. Celsius, for the 300 shares that I own, my cost basis is $25.47, which means I am up a whopping 113% on my total return. And then Costco also is a very strong performer. I only own 20 shares, but you can see just this past year, there's been an incredible run up, as there always is with Costco, and I am now up 32%. So going back to my dilemma, why not take that $58,000 and invest that money into Costco or Celsius or Apple or Microsoft? I think a reasonable argument could be made, Wayne, if you had taken that $58,000, you would have far more money in total return than you could earn by selling cash secured puts. Here's the problem though, and this is kind of what I come back to, is yes, I am up 52% for my Microsoft position, and I'm up 41% for Apple, and I'm up 113% for Celsius. But in reality, these are all unrealized gains. These are paper returns that until I actually sell out of these positions, I'm never going to be able to truly say, hey, I made $8,680 from Celsius. Or when I sold out of my Microsoft position, I scored an easy $25,000 in profit. So this is the problem. Yes, technically, right, I'm up this percentage, but until I actually sell out, I really haven't technically earned anything. And this is why I go back to why I love selling cash secured puts. You can see here during the last update for 2023, my year-to-date total was $20,000. Now that $20,000 is not unrealized. That is immediate cash flow that goes into my brokerage account, which I could also take to invest in other quality stocks. And I'm going to talk about for my 2024 update what the plan is with all of the earned premium for the year. But I always go back to the option premium being immediate. That cash flow immediately goes into my account. I can immediately draw down on whatever amount of money that I've made. And so I do struggle with having, again, nearly $60,000. That's just from one brokerage, by the way. My wife is also participating in cash secured puts, and so she also has a significant chunk of change in her account as well. But I ultimately do think that the strategy of selling cash secured puts more so than covered calls is going to continue being successful for me in the upcoming year. So let's go ahead and give you the update update. I'm not going to teach you guys too much. The last update, again, my year-to-date total was $36,897. Now, I am going to update my spreadsheets going forward, so expect to see things looking a little bit different on the other spreadsheets that I'm going to share here. But again, if we now pivot to today, year-to-date total, I have gone from $36,897. Holy smokes, I've gone all the way up to $43,250. I have a beaming, bright smile on my face because I really didn't think that I was even going to get to 40,000 just a few months ago. Now, obviously, even though $43,250 is a phenomenal amount of money that I earned, again, immediate cash flow in my account right now, I did not surpass 2022, and I've talked about this in previous videos. I think I'm pretty good at selling options, whether it's cash secured puts or covered calls. But in reality, it does not matter how good I think I am at selling options. I'm never going to be able to go up against things like market conditions, volume, let's say, with certain stocks that I'm looking to sell options against. And then, of course, the volatility index is at an all-time low, continues to be very low for the better part of 2023. That has a significant impact, and it has with the premiums that I have earned. And so, given all those circumstances, I think my total, which again, $43,250, is not too bad. All right, so I can tell you right now in 2024, I think the focus for me is going to continue to be doing the same, but there's going to be more of an emphasis on the cash secured put side. If I had to compare, if someone says, Wayne, what do you like selling better? Covered calls against positions that you own or cash secured puts? Obviously, entering a contract where I might have to take ownership of 100 shares. I'm going to lean towards the latter. I like selling cash secured puts way more than selling covered calls. And one of the problems that I'm sort of seeing now is with covered calls, I own as I mentioned, Microsoft and Apple and Celsius and Costco. I would love to reach 100 shares. Those are positions that I want to hold in the long term. And so what happens is you begin to have what I would call a conflict. Yeah, you like generating cash flow from selling covered calls, but you certainly wouldn't want Apple or Microsoft to be called away. And that's the problem that I have. Yes, I'm earning solid cash flow, but I think I could earn more cash flow from selling cash secured puts, and it wouldn't involve, right, the turmoil of saying, oh my goodness, I potentially am going to have 100 shares of a great stock called away from me. So be on the lookout. I think in 2024, my jam is going to consist mostly of selling cash secured puts. Not to say that I will not sell covered calls, but I think the ratio of covered calls compared to cash secured puts, you'll see a far more significant amount of contracts on the cash secured put side. Speaking of cash secured puts, let's go ahead and take a look here at my updated spreadsheet. And essentially now I'm just able to more easily sort for particular things that I'm looking for. You'll see here in 2023, out of the 435 contracts that I sold, I made 24,000. Again, this is just the cash secured put side. Let's go ahead and feature a couple of stocks that earned me the most premium in 2023. I'm going to go ahead and feature 5 positions, and we're going to go ahead and start with IWM. You'll see here in 2023, I sold, again, this is only on the cash secured put side, a total of 25 contracts. And IWM was certainly very consistent with the amount of premium. You guys can see throughout the year, I was able to steadily sell contracts against IWM, as much as even yesterday, in which I sold my last contract for 2023, earning $100. But in total on IWM, I made $1,796. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next best performing position, and that is going to be Meta. Once again, you're only seeing the Meta contracts that I sold on the cash secured put side, 23 in total, and I earned $2,357. Meta is definitely going to remain in heavy rotation for me in 2024. I would say consistency has been one of the nice things about Meta for me. They had an incredible run up this past year, but the premium has also stayed pretty consistent for me, even though the stock price has gone up, which obviously means I have to have more collateral. So there you have it, Meta doing rather well for me this past year. All right, the next stock which did rather well for me, and this one probably excites me out of this entire list of 5 that I'm showing you today, And that is because I do not own one share of NVIDIA. Now, of course, hindsight's always 2020. Of course, I would have loved to have purchased NVIDIA earlier in 2023. Of course, I'd probably be making a killing in covered calls, but maybe not, right? Maybe I would have had those shares called away from me. So I kind of go back to why I love selling cash secured puts. But in 2023, you can see I sold a total of 32 contracts, and I've earned $3,175 for a stock in which I do not own even a single share of. Netflix is another position which did rather well for me. Again, I go back to hindsight. Would I love to own 100 shares of Netflix and be able to experience the share price appreciation and sell covered calls? Yeah, certainly. But yet again, this is another position in which I do not own one single share. However, throughout the year, I was able to make $3,183 for the 39 contracts that I entered throughout the year. Again, Netflix is also going to remain in heavy rotation for me in 2024. But hands down, the number one position that I was able to generate the most cash flow from selling cash secured puts here in 2023 was Tesla. Go ahead and take a look here. I was able to sell a total of 41 contracts, and in doing so, I made $4,070. Not bad. Now, Tesla is a bit of a unique position for me because I'm also selling covered calls against the 300 shares that I own. Unfortunately, I have made the dreaded mistake this past year of selling covered calls below my cost basis. I'm going to give you guys an update in a future video on that when it comes to goals that I have for next year. Spoiler alert, it involves never, ever, ever selling a covered call if it involves selling below my cost basis. I learned that lesson the expensive way because on the covered call side for Tesla, whereas on the cash secured put side, I am up 4,000 and some change. On the covered call side, I am down significantly because I've had to buy back those contracts, again, out of fear of those shares of Tesla being called away. So if I just look at Tesla from a cash secured put component, very, very successful for me. Again, 41 contracts, 4,000, that's pretty good. Boy, one of the things that I didn't talk about when it comes to IWM, Meta, Netflix, NVIDIA, and now Tesla, not once, unless I wanted to be assigned, not once was I ever assigned 100 shares of any of the stocks that I've talked about up to this point. I think IWM is the exception because I wanted to run the wheel strategy. So we're just going to say Tesla, NVIDIA, Netflix, and Meta. Not once was I ever assigned. Now, is that because I'm good? Is that because I'm lucky? I think it's because I understand how to properly roll a position. Take a look here in August. Obviously, I had to roll this contract of Tesla. But ultimately, after I was able to roll it, I was able to eventually close it out early. So let's go back here to the final spreadsheet. And again, my apologies for wildly different colors as we go from this option premium by year look to the other one. But in total, guys, $43,250. I am very happy with that number. If you were to ask me, what am I going to make in 2024 based on everything that I learned this past year, and I did learn a lot, trust me, I feel comfortable in saying that I think I can also reach a similar dollar amount. However, I already know based on sort of my now, mindset of never to sell a covered call below cost basis. That means I'm not going to be able to take advantage of premium on the covered call side as much as I was these past 2 years. That means I'm going to have to work harder on the cash secured put side, but I also want to stick with the stocks that have been most successful to me. So there you have it. Again, I'm going to put out another video talking about goals for 2024, and that's definitely going to include the plan that I have when it comes to selling options. But I kind of gave you guys the quick rundown. Obviously, with cash secured puts, I'm going to be doing more of those very selective stocks that have been profitable / successful for me. Again, not too bad of a year. If you guys began selling options this past year, let me know down in the comments what was your most successful options play. Did you guys have more success with covered calls, cash secured puts, a little bit of both? I'll definitely be on the lookout for those comments. And once again, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you guys are having a fantastic end of 2023. We'll certainly see you here in the new year. And until then, be safe.